into my zone, put the scissor home. Nah, we set up my phone, I ain't staying long. Flexing on you fakes, I ain't bend a bone. Hold this culture, fuck with the code of honor. They be faking and making it rain with the stolen thunder. Some of y'all be dealing with snow, kick up your nose. Ironic that the sickest the winners developing cold. For motherfuck you waste man, they skin pillin', fit fillin', cultural spray man. Drinking Henny, pretending it brings enjoyment when y'all ain't even never comfortable in your own sin. I don't need rap to double the stacks. Front of the class, divided in dividends, fuck up the math. Look at the bag, 70 racks independent of cash. Call up the deputy, girl, I got equity, don't give a fuck about cash. Don't got a many, but do them a mag. They said that I look at the past. Fuck all these niggas, they crash, smoke up and do me relax. And put the phone down, put the phone down. Attention, there's no bounds, remember what's going round. My enemies go down, vengeance is profound. But you lost your professionalism, oh wow. Fucking deputy at all time, I'ma never leave the old house. Unapologetic, if you diabetic, I'm swinging every hole. Got been ducking, diving daily, couldn't get a fuck about your neighbors. Got stuck and now you feeling it, couldn't get enough from all those favors, huh? Ducking, diving payments, couldn't get a one go, so you're saving up on the stage. You bet any game, so you can't save this shit, will control your life. Sensitive, privilege, bitches developing failures. Had to get cancer to see all the benefits. Pulled out your debit and realized the zeros was too much to settle. So you switching parties like Copo invaded it. I'll still be protesting the brutality that my brothers is facing. Ay, y'all some faking bitches, fuck your favorite dishes. If it ain't got healthy, then I take the exit. Big bets, big change, feeling spectrum of emotion in a range. I'm in my bag, I don't need rap to double the stacks. Front of the class, divided in dividends, fuck up the math. Look at the bag, 70 racks independent of cash. Call up the deputy, girl, I got equity, don't give a fuck about cash. I'm in my bag, I don't need rap to double the stacks. Front of the class, divided in dividends, fuck up the math. Look at the bag, 70 racks independent of cash. Call up the deputy, girl, I got equity, don't give a fuck about cash. Tell me why they say they stay, then they always go. Cause I don't want no one beside me when I'm riding home. That driver's cold got me turning heel, I can't find my soul. Got a sold out arena of thoughts inside my dome, and I cannot supply the show. It's been a minute, but I still get it. When you behind my bars, I know that you still get a sentence. But I never listen or levels to anything. So when you mention it, where there is, know that I'm your enemy. I am a hypocrite living, a bit of the ignorance missed. The imminent hurt, fuck it, put him in the dirt, it's a better way to deal with. It's turning me cynical, burning the medical, I feed my ego. Claim that I don't need to go, but really I feel like Vegeta. I need a bomber, someone would drive beyond the tours. My mind like Yoba, multiple voices trying to control you. I rolled the dice, found myself a material vice. Melted patience over generations, before some my literal life. This is for the players in the back with the show. Got your neck iced out, hot and insecurities. Hitting on these hoes with the gold, your priority. Got your presidential distance, sweet to your authority. I'ma run the world without a roller or a chain. I know my flow's strong when I'm rolling to the bank. I'ma run the game, I'ma run the game, I'ma run the game. Tell me why they say they stay, then they always go. Still I'm hoping you beside me when it's time to blow. I'm on my own, pray my cynicism don't find a home. So when you jump into conclusions, you'll Geronimo, or you might end up on your own. It's been a minute since I tried to mend a friction. We don't gotta be fucking it, but we benefiting. But if you ask me, I'm a bender, hit it, end of sentence. Pray that you don't hit me and get offended, we're reminiscing. I'ma get the dome run, fuck that emotional junk, yeah. Don't look at me like I'm a copy of that Louis Vuitton, no. Am I a sinner to mention my inner condition, the deepest desires? You gotta bring it and finger that children and bring it freedom's a whole new life. I'ma just throw these lies under the rug and over my eyes, feeding me slugs for bullets of love, but the gun's not loaded right. I'm borderline, not commitment been normalized. Melted patience over generations been forced by us to prioritize.
This was for the players in the back with the shorty. Got your neck iced out, hiding insecurities. Hitting all these hoes with the gold, your priority. But your presidential doesn't speak to your authority. I'ma run the road without a rodeo or chain. I know my flow's strong when I'm rolling to the bank. I'ma run the game, I'ma run the game, I'ma run the game. Put me down, bring me up. Don't go in these streets and I don't give a. Call me Kuma, bitches racist. Right up in the room, leave you fooled by faded.
I'm gonna break a bone, I'm gonna break a bone. I've been thinking wrong, shit my conscience can't condone. Yeah, cracker blokes, why you cracking jokes? I'm at your folks, packing dope, slam the dope. I am the manifestation of having no patience, hope. In the back and I'm waiting to flatten your face and I'll have no mo. His man don't wanna talk, man don't wanna talk.
Ratting in the dark, phantom of the ops.
Bitch, I'm Ansari, hustle Minaj, hustling hard. Don't play the lousy, I'm sorry, I fuck with your card. You terrible fam, I don't care if you rap, I don't fuck with the bars. Wanna be a black offspring, but still don't fuck with the march. What's up with that? I'ma bust right back. Retaliation, we tan your face, this your color back. Ready to die? Front to back. Got the T.I. with the B.I. Now we fucking at.
All these motherfuckers, 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 all these.
Put me down, bring me up. Don't go in these streets and I don't give a. Call me Kuma, bitches racist. Right up in the room, leave you fooled by faded.
I like my curry with the side of butter, nah, bitch. Ain't got no worries, but the claim that I'm a convict. Yeah, I've been away. We doing 300 records a day. But when you hearing the buzz from your record, so all you can think is Guantanamo Bay.
No, I won't give you validation for fragility. Whoa, I've been running this same race since I was mini-me. Damn, I can probably give you power for that whackness. Damn. But this the 6, I check the hour and you're back, bitch. I've been living in culture of riches, about the world bitches. They buckle the pressure, I'm here as the witness of variable sickness. My heritage is the shit to be getting with imminent. It's the threat of them appearing to stick my revisiting out. I'm pausing the scene and I'm looking around, looking right now at
all these motherfuckers, 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 all these.
John, eh? More like Ramakrishna. Yeah, right, buddy, like your name is John.
Put me down, bring me up. Don't go in these streets and I don't give a. Call me Kuma, bitches racist. Right up in the room, leave you fooled by faded.
Oh, we're good. Oh, we're live. Do you love awkward intros? Because I sure love awkward intros. Can I get an air horn, Cheyenne? That awkward pause was done on purpose.
Yeah, of course.
We're very intentional.
Like everything on the show.
Oh, what's that?
Hey.
It's my friend DJ AP's birthday. Hey! Hey guys, what's up? I'm Rohan.
I'm DJ AP.
And he is 24 now. And welcome to episode 3 of the Keralanka Show. Woo! Okay. So we have a really dope guest today. I think we're gonna build up a great vibe. We already have coming from brunch and everything. But before we jump into the actual show, we want to just spend some time, especially for first-time viewers, just going over the foundations of why we started this show. So some of you might be familiar with the concept of intersectionality. It's the idea that people of different backgrounds, genders, ethnicities, etc. need to work together in order to achieve a common goal.
So on the show, we want to explore the question of what if we applied intersectionality to the world of art.
So we have a really dope, incredible lineup of creatives, entrepreneurs, artists, etc., who not only, even if they don't use the buzzword, who not only apply the concept of intersectionality to their art, but also to their lifestyle.
We talk to the guest, translate it into a beat, and live happily ever after.
Okay, so without further ado, we'd like to introduce this week's guest. She's an incredible artist who wears multiple hats. She's really creating safe spaces for the underrepresented and marginalized through her poetry, photography, and advocacy efforts. Can we please make some noise for Reesee, ZIGGA, ZAGGA? Welcome, Reesee. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Do I need to talk into the mic?
You're good.
No,
you're good.
I'm okay right here?
Yeah, you're good.
Really? Oh, that's
We just kind of awkwardly positioned our mics, so I'm
Yeah,
just...
because there's 2 of us, so it's like...
got you. I'm doing great. I'm full of vegan food and love. And
Yes.
I'm doing
Hey.
good.
Yes, we just came from Fresh on Crawford.
Yes.
Yes. That's good. Reesee, do you want to give a quick bio and just summary for those of you who might not know who you are?
Sure. Oh, it's always difficult to break. I just
so
feel
much.
There's so much. I don't really. So I am an artist. I will say that. I think that's the best way for me to sum it up. I'm an artist. I started with photography, and while my career was taking off, I found myself in an abusive relationship. And then that kind of changed the course of my life because of that, and not really understanding why it happened to me. The why set me on a quest, which led me to an awakening, and I wanted to do something to reach out and support other people who had gone through similar things, because I came to realize how common it is. Just a little tidbit, a little bit of info. In Canada, 51% of Canadian women have experienced physical or sexual violence, more than half. So I'm like, okay, it's really common, and no one really seems to be, there's not enough conversation going on, and so I wanted to create a space where people could share their stories, and so doing that definitely helped me develop in a lot of ways, and suddenly the photography alone wasn't enough anymore. It just was too surface for me, so I started doing interviews and came in. I think when your consciousness and vibration rises, you start to come in contact with people on similar frequencies, and so I started coming around. Yes, look
universe.
At this,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's beautiful.
The
And then
universe
even the
speaks.
Uber ride today.
Yeah, the Uber ride. Man, we had an amazing Uber ride.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jeffrey.
Yes, Jeffrey.
It's my man. 5 stars. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No. And so, from meeting new people, I found myself surrounded by poets, and now I've just fallen in love with spoken word poetry, and that's going to be the next thing I focus on in my life.
That's beautiful. And if you don't mind, we're just going to play a quick tidbit of an interview that you had with Joshua Obra, who is he's a great actor. He's actually in one of my best friend Marcus's films coming up soon. Can we just roll that clip really quickly to give the people an idea?
Has a loved one that you've lost ever visited you in your dream?
Yeah. Well, yeah. One time. It was one time. If I knew I was dreaming, I wouldn't have treated it like it was just another day. I mean, yeah, just another day of seeing him. And I feel like I would have asked him a lot of questions and talked to him more. I don't know. Yeah, it was very interesting though. But it hasn't happened in a long time.
Who was that?
My stepfather. Yeah.
Were you close to him?
I wasn't as close as I wanted to be.
Okay, cool. So that should give you sort of a good idea of Reesee and everything. Definitely we'll be diving deeper into what you do and the multiple facets of your life as a creative. But we want to, we jump right into it here on the Keralanka Show. We don't believe in shallow conversations. So we're going to ask you right off the bat, Reesee, what has been your latest epiphany?
I would say there are two major ones. One is that I would say I know now that I know how to love. And that was a big thing for me. Like the past couple of relationships I was in, I noticed some trends. I noticed myself pulling away, withdrawing my love when things went a certain way that made me feel, I wasn't kind of getting my way or I was hurt. I didn't know how to keep loving through those moments. And now I feel I do. So that's huge for me. And the second thing is that I'm no longer operating from a place of lack.
A place of lack?
Lacking, yeah. Like, so if something good comes into my life, I can enjoy it, but it makes me happier, but it doesn't make me happy. I'm already happy. I'm already good. So I'm not afraid to lose anything. I enjoy everything for the experience it is. I don't expect things to last. I'm not saying I expect them not to last, but whatever happens, I'm just grateful. And I'm just grateful. So I'm in a place of wholeness, I think, right now.
That's so interesting.
That's so dope. It's interesting that you said that part about just not operating from a place of lack, because I actually went through something similar recently. I was just like in a slump in my life, and I had a similar realization where it's like my happiness is not based on my what I'm achieving in my life or anything like that. My happiness is coming from myself, and my achievement is just there to satisfy my drive.
Yes.
But my drive and my happiness are not one and the same.
Amazing.
And
That's a
I
great
had a
place
very
to be.
similar realization, so that just struck a chord when you said that. Yeah.
That's a whole conversation too, about cultivating
exactly.
the happiness within and not needing it from.
Exactly.
That would be a good conversation.
Especially in Western culture, where we're so achievement driven, right?
Yes.
We're so the individualism, I guess, is good to some extent, but it's like we're so caught up in even with this new wave of follow your passion, that's dope, but to tie your happiness directly to something other than what's within, to external factors is.
Yes, and not only are we tied to achievement here, but external pleasures are just a stone's throw away. They're everywhere. Shopping, food, entertainment. Think about other parts of the world where they don't have that. Like you live on a farm, and there's no technology isn't everything. That's why so many of us are addicted to our phones.
It's like a dopamine hit.
Exactly.
That's great. This is crazy because I was actually thinking, I feel in between you guys right now, but I was actually thinking because you had told me about when you went through that slump, and I was thinking exactly that when she said that. I was like, wow, AP's gonna relate to this. I've heard his perspective. I want to hear your perspective on how you arrived at that epiphany of my happiness is not driven by, I don't know how you said it specifically, but achievements or external things.
I think this has been a huge year for me in terms of personal growth and transformation and healing. It's been a very significant year. It started out with a lot of traumas resurfacing. The past couple of years of my life have been super challenging. And then in February, I was overwhelmed by the amount of trauma that I was experiencing from the past. I stopped feeling safe. I had no sense of safety, and I had a breakdown. So in April, I left to Costa Rica for a month to just focus completely on my healing. And because of certain people who had entered my life, I felt comfortable for the first time in over a decade sharing photos of myself online regularly and telling my story of abuse. And people had already known my work through my photography, but this is the first time they'd really seen that intimate side of me. And from doing that, facing that fear, it just opened the floodgates for love. And the best thing about the appreciation and the support I've been receiving lately is that people appreciate me and connect with me because of who I authentically am. There's nothing, I'm not acting, but it's just real. It's genuine. And there's something so good about that when you're welcomed and celebrated for being yourself.
Because you're just being true to yourself, right?
And it's infectious, that authenticity and ability to just be you and not put on a front.
I'm not trying to please anyone.
Yes. That totally, other people are going to come forward and be their authentic self because of that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is so awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for just laying it all on the table and being vulnerable. We really appreciate. We literally met each other today, so this is crazy, right? That's awesome. So okay, cool. We're gonna keep moving on. But before we move on, let's break down how exactly the Keralanka Show works. So this is how it goes down. So basically, firstly, on the interview station, myself and AP are going to basically rotate every 5 minutes, asking Reesee a different question. And then while one of us is here at the interview station asking your question, the other one of us is actually going to be at the creative station, building a beat in real time, inspired by her answers and her story. And then finally, we're going to present the beat at the end, and we're all going to live happily ever after. And also, right at the end, we're going to have a very, very special performance, a very powerful poem by Reesee, so stick around to the end for that as well. Cool. All right, so we've explained the rules, but there's one problem. We need to figure out who's going to the creative station first. So we have this coin for you over here. Since it's AP's birthday, I'm going to graciously let him call, and basically whoever wins this coin toss is going to decide who goes to the creative station first.
Cool.
Okay.
So you're going to call it now?
I'm going to call it heads.
Oh, it stuck to my hand.
Good coin flip.
It was not heads.
It's tails?
Well, it's the head of a caribou, so...
Get out of here, man.
Right.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Move,
fam. Yo, these shirts, we'll definitely talk about them.
Listen, I'm moving out of here. You move out of my aura.
Where can we find the shirts?
Shout outs to these. Where can we get these shirts?
So if you go to my website or the link in my bio on Instagram.
Yeah, you can point. It's right here.
ZIGGAstudio.com
/links.
Yes.
/links. Okay,
store,
dope.
Yes.
And you can get these dope shirts. We got fuck up some chakras, which is amazing. We definitely got to make we got to make a remix. We got to make a remix of the Future song for sure. And then we got Move From My Aura, fam.
My thing is this, right? Like, feistiness causes wrinkles. So you can just keep your face calm, say it on your shirt. And just iron out the shirt wrinkles, if anything, you know.
It's not really move from my aura, fam. It's more like move from my aura, fam.
You got it.
Pierce through their heart with kindness. All right, cool. Okay, this is amazing, by the way. Okay, cool. So we're gonna get into it and make sure the mic isn't in my face here. But I'm gonna ask you my first question, my first of 3 questions here.
Okay.
So I was listening to a podcast you recently did, and something really stood out to me. You said art is one of the best ways to process pain. You said this, and it really resonated with me because growing up, like, especially as an only child, like, art was pretty much, it has been the only constant in my life when it comes to expressing that pain and sort of, it being therapeutic in a way. I just want to get your perspective on, I don't know if that's the right term, but like almost like perpetual pain, like something that is sort of like an experience or something that keeps coming back. And do you believe that, expression of pain via art is a path to happiness, or is it purely just something in the moment to sort of experience? And this is a really weird question, but like essentially, like, does expressing your pain through art bring you happiness, or is it some other emotion?
Are you talking about me specifically? Or
yeah, your perspective on it specifically, because I think everyone has a different perspective. But
I think one of the most life-changing quotes I heard is apparently by the Buddha, which was, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. So I think that is a way to happiness, I would say, or it is a way of making sure that you are moving in happiness, because through using art as a medium, thank you. Am I good now? Yeah, okay,
you're fine.
Cool. Through using art as a means to process pain, what you're doing is allowing your soul to do what it needs to do to heal itself. So I think so, yeah. I think it's a way to transmute the negative energy that we're given. How's this?
Oh, you're...
Okay.
Danny, stop distracting us, man. Sit down.
It's a way to transmute the negative energy we've been given into something positive, not just for ourselves, but if we share it, it helps other people as well. So.
Okay, so on that point, like, completely different topic, but super interesting, like, how have you found the journey from sort of expressing your pain via art for yourself as sort of maybe a therapeutic method or whatever, to expressing your pain via art so that other people it can resonate with other people and help other people? Like, was there a specific moment where you sort of realized the difference?
I've never actually, I don't think I've ever done it for myself.
Wow, interesting.
Because the very first poem I wrote, I was asked to write it. The second poem I wrote, I was asked to write it.
You were asked to write it?
Yeah, so the first one was for a TV show. Because I had poets around me, they thought I was a poet too.
Oh.
Can you perform for a show? I'm like, yes.
What?
Because I'm just like, oh, I'm going to bring attention to
Did you tell
what
them
we're
you're
doing.
not a poet?
Nope.
Or you're just like, I'm just going to go for it? That's amazing.
Yep.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. Well, yeah. And so Firefly was the first one I wrote. And then the next year, I didn't write again for a year. And then I was asked to write for a conference that was around men working with men to end toxic masculinity. So I wrote my second piece for that. And then I was asked to write for TEDx Rouge River the following
that was
year.
awesome. Yeah.
So it's always been for other people. I've never,
That's such a different perspective, because selfishly I've always come at it from the perspective of like when I write lyrics and I rap, it's always like it almost has to pass the first pass, which is selfishly like it has to be for me and resonate with me, my story, and then afterwards it's like the next level for me anyway is being able to spread it to other people and like so that they can sort of hear my story and maybe draw parallels. But it's super interesting to hear that you've sort of always taken the latter approach.
Yep. But when you say selfish, do you mean that in a negative way?
I mean, no, okay, maybe not selfish, maybe self-full is the better word. I don't think it's a negative thing. I think a lot of artists sort of come from a place of doing it for themselves, especially if you're talking about a very personal experience. Right. Yes, the larger macro theme could apply to other people's journey, but you're still coming at it from your unique perspective, right?
I think it's great that that's how you do it. That's what matters, is that it resonates with you before you share it with anyone else.
For sure. So, wow, but again, like super unique perspective that you've always done it for other people. But do you still bring a personal like element to it?
Of course. I'm still expressing from within, and it's the same resonance thing. It has to resonate or it's not right. And I get a lot of joy out of performing, especially the piece I'm going to perform now. There's something about the breath work involved and the repetition of like positive phrases and empowering phrases. I love it.
The energy, right?
Yes,
it's
totally.
It's so hard to describe, but it's just an all-encompassing energy.
Yes.
When did you first experience that energy and maybe like realize that your work was resonating with other people?
Are you speaking to the poetry specifically?
You know what? Like maybe even before the poetry, like with photography and everything, like in general. This is amazing because you do so many things. It's like
I know it's been an interesting journey. Honestly, I started like photography when I was in high school.
Wow.
And a friend of mine needed pictures for a modeling agency. I'm like, I'll take pictures. I have
Sure.
a little digital camera, pay my bus fare home. I'll take pictures for you. And then someone else found out and they started asking me. So things just started taking off really quick for me. I don't know.
That's
I feel
awesome.
like, and I have
good.
like a lot of support, and I feel like the people who were supporting me with my photography are now like they've supported me through Reclaim Your Voice, and now they're supporting me through the poetry. So there's always been like a good amount of support. I would say.
Yeah, you are a community. That's awesome. Okay, so we're out of time here, so I'm going to switch with AP real quick, but I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Come on, AP, let's go.
Here we go again.
Keralanka, put some spice on it.
What? That's dope.
I swear we didn't rehearse that. That was
Chemistry.
yeah. It is what it is. All right, how are you?
I'm great.
Oh, I'm so excited for this episode. I actually sent Danny more questions than I was supposed to at the beginning of this episode because I was so excited for this conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Me
So
too.
I'm just gonna get right into it.
Yeah.
So I noticed a story you posted on Instagram. I think it was like a couple of days ago, where you were asking your followers about why they feel comfortable opening up to strangers.
Yes.
And that's something I found really interesting because I find myself on the other side of that a lot.
Okay.
I like being there for people, like offering that support. So I wanted to get Hey.
I want to ask you questions now, but it's okay.
I mean, we can, right? Okay. Have you ever felt that way yourself, like throughout your life? Like, have you ever found yourself finding comfort in strangers, or have you always been someone who finds comfort in your close friends?
Something happened to me recently, which I haven't told anyone about. I don't know if I'll ever tell anyone about it, because if I told anyone in my life about it, they would kill the person who did what they did. So this is the first time I think if I were to talk, I don't even know if I would talk to a stranger about it, but I would feel more comfortable talking to a stranger. My friends would get really upset about the situation. So.
And why do you find it easier to talk to a stranger than to
because they won't know who I'm talking about. They will not be as emotionally involved as my friends would. So I could just say it and get the feedback.
It's like a sense of an anonymity.
Exactly.
Is that how you say the word?
Yeah. Shit is now. So, yeah.
Okay,
I think
okay.
so, yeah.
So I want to flip the perspective now and ask you, what is it that makes you want to make people feel comfortable coming to you for support? Like, what is it internally that like drives you to do that?
I guess it's the whole humanitarian mission that I found myself on, which is it's linked almost entirely to my spiritual awakening. So the thought I had, I was wondering, like, so I was healing from the abuse, and I just was stuck in this place. And a lot of people who are healing from abuse or certain types of traumas go through a phase of, why did this happen to me? Why me? Why? And so I was going through that. And then one day I looked out my window, and I'm like, there must be so many people out there who are feeling the way I'm feeling right now. And I want to offer to them what it is I'm looking for. So it might be that, but that was like 2011. So it's like 7 years. It's just like part of me now. It's not even consciously like I want you to feel good when you're talking to me. It's just like, this is just what it is. This is my mission. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I'm trying to figure out where to take this right now, because it's like, so was it that traumatic experience that gave you that like it clicked in you during that? Like, was there any thought of it before that?
You know
like,
what?
you might
I think
want
where that came from, I don't remember where I read it, but it was something like, whatever you think you're lacking in your life. So let's say you feel lonely and you feel like you want love in your life. Give what it is you're looking for. Because when you give it, not even that you'll find it, but you realize you have it already. Ooh. Yeah, and you don't need to turn to somebody else for it.
Yes. So I guess when I say find it, it's like you'll find it within yourself.
Exactly.
Right? Like not even, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the internal versus external, right? Mm-hmm. So like, what made you, what gave you that realization, the happiness?
Which one?
Like the internal versus external.
The one that I had recently, do you mean?
Yeah. Or is that something we don't want to dig into?
No, I don't mind you asking, but I think it is in response to. So it is that same situation I'm referring to, which is a potentially devastating situation. But I'm just finding myself so strong and grounded through it, probably because of all the work I've done at Reclaim Your Voice. Because I can just refer to the lessons and the scientific information that we have uncovered doing that work. I'm applying it to what I'm going through, and I'm just like, it's okay. Like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm good. Like, I get it. It's a blessing. It's a blessing because, like, so in so many ways, even when my trauma resurfaced for the first time in my life, I was grateful for Reclaim Your Voice's existence because I'm like, there's actually a community that I could talk to and share my story to if I need to.
Right, and then you're also able to be there for other people who have gone through similar experiences, and then that also adds like to your own feeling of like it just makes you feel better, right?
It does,
like,
definitely. And it's not even just me. Anyone who comes to the space is there supporting other people, whether they realize it or not. They might think they're coming just to listen to someone share their story and feel a sense of connection. But in listening, the person who's speaking feels heard. So it's just a lot of like, it's just support and love. I think like
just a lot lot of good vibes, right? Like,
most people who walk in, even if they walk in like midway through the event, they're like, I felt so much love upon entering the space. What's also ironic is at my going away party, which is at a club, everyone was saying the same thing too. It was just a loving vibe.
So awesome.
Yeah, so it makes me happy.
I'm so happy to hear that. And now I'm going to take that over to the creative station.
Okay.
Because unfortunately we're out of time.
Oh, you're coming back though.
But I'll be back.
Right. Awesome.
Oh, your favorite interviewer's back. I'm kidding. Darn you. I say that every episode, man.
It's getting kind of old.
All right.
Just like UAP.
Oh, AP was like, come on, man, that joke's getting kind of old. And Danny was like, just like you, AP.
Oh.
I can't really react to that because I'm older than him. So. All right, cool. Okay, cool. So my second question is around more personal experiences. So when you first talked and opened up about your own experiences, about abuse, you mentioned you were hesitant, but then you were met with like similar stories from other people that have experienced like psychological or sexual abuse. And you mentioned that it was comforting, but it was also sort of uncomfortable to think about because it was so common, which is what we were talking about at the beginning of this show too. I guess, can you just to the extent that you're comfortable sharing, like, can you talk to me about that mix of emotions of, like, obviously being able to, like, with your platform, reach people that have been affected by sort of similar experience, while also having to deal with the fact that it's, like, super common for other people too, like, just dealing with that mix of emotions?
Well, there's two phases of my life where I started opening up. One was at my events, the Reclaim Your Voice events, and then the other was online. Very different because at the events, it's a closed space. You know who's there. At online, you don't know who's watching. You don't know why they're watching. You don't know who's hiding behind that screen name. So it was definitely different. I didn't know, if I mentioned a story regarding certain people, how would they respond to it, so, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm operating, once again, from this just very grounded place. So I can't even say I'm thinking too much about the outcome or anything. I'm just doing what I know I'm here to do at this point in time. That's it. There's not a lot of thought. It's heart work. Like, it's resonance. Even with me leaving Toronto. Right. Resonance. My spirit is calling me. I'm following it.
That's crazy. It's like a very free-flowing mindset, which, like, especially in, like, again, a Western society where we live life in such a rigid and structured manner, which can...
And fear-based, in a sense. In a big sense, actually. I think it's fear-based because why are so many people in debt? They're in debt. A lot of people have student debt because they feel that's the only way to have the life of their dreams. Stability. So out of fear of a lack of stability, people put themselves in situations that make their lives potentially worse. Yeah.
And it ends up not even... the ideal outcome isn't even met.
Yes. And when everyone I've told that I'm leaving is like, that's amazing. I would do that if I could. But then a lot of people are like, you even said you're courageous, right? Yeah.
Diving into ambiguity.
Yes.
Diving into ambiguity.
Over here, we kind of know what life is supposed to look like. Sure. Let's say traditionally, like, so it's like you grow up. I was asking my niece, she's 8 years old. I wanted to see what she thought. I said, what do you do? How do you live life? Like, what happens after school? You go to college. What happens after that? You get a job. What happens after that? You get married, and then you get children. Like, she at 8 years old,
she's already blueprinted it out because we beat it into people.
Exactly. And so a lot of times, anyone who strays from that, and we're like city kids, so like it's a little different for us, but there's a lot of people who just have that ingrained, and anything outside of that is like, that's weird. Why are you doing that?
Why would you do that?
Why are you doing that? How are you going to make your money? Who do you know that's going to help you? Like, I'm just like not afraid.
So when you have you never sort of experienced, like, when you have faced that resistance, have you ever been like, oh, like, what the hell? Like, have you ever been bothered by it, or have you always been like very unbothered?
I've just been like this for so long, it's hard to say.
That's awesome.
The biggest first instant of that happening was when I told my parents I wasn't going to university and I was going to get into photography full-time after high school. And again, not to stereotype, but, the Indian parent mentality. Exactly. So that was huge for them. And
it's like you're challenging their truths.
Basically.
What they believe. And it's always coming from a good intention, I think, right? When they want you to follow a certain path.
Yes.
But they don't necessarily understand that path might not actually lead to the...
or might not be right for the person.
Totally.
And fear-based again.
Yeah.
So it's
it takes a lot of, like, trust in yourself to sort of just live life. I feel like it's a very Buddhist sort of mentality in a lot of ways of just, like, life is a sequence of passing events and you just embrace it. Whether it's like an up or down.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So again, like, I want to ask you, like, because I'm super curious, like, is this something, have you just always been like this?
No.
like
Definitely
you are woke.
Definitely
like,
not.
When?
I really need to make what I documented of my Costa Rica journey into a book, because that would answer a lot of questions. I'm the opposite, actually. Before Costa Rica, before this year, I don't think I would have done what I'm doing now. I don't think I think I myself would have been like, how am I going to make money? And, what am I doing out there? Like, this is so weird. But in Costa Rica, after like 2 or 3 years of me, I was really going through, I cannot even stress how challenging the past few years have been. But Costa Rica, which again, I felt my spirit was calling me, go to Costa Rica, go to Costa Rica, go to Costa Rica. So I went, and from the moment I landed to the moment I left, everything I asked for came to me. Everything I asked for. I felt like I was getting messages constantly, and the message was basically like, first of all, you can rest now, because I took time off, reclaim your voice. You can rest now. You've earned this rest. And 2, you are in good hands. We got you. So I just felt like I was, the entire time, it was like a conversation with God. That's it.
Beautiful.
And I don't even know what God is. I use that term kind of loosely, but I feel like there's this higher power, whether it's like God, universe, even maybe a being who is working through me, or a whole tribe maybe.
Spirit,
yes, it's just, I'm in good hands.
That's
so
amazing.
One major thing that happened on that trip was I went whitewater rafting for the first time. I'm a pretty competitive and adventurous person, so that was like totally up my alley. And at the end of the boat ride, we had life jackets on, and they said, if you want, you can hop out of the boat and just float down the river. And so I did that, and that was the first time in my life I floated down the river on my back, and the current just took me. And I'm like, I feel so weightless right now. It's so nice to just literally go with the flow. Go with the flow.
I think that
And
is
so
a
now-
perfect ender to this round.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's amazing. Okay, I'll be back.
Awesome.
Cheyenne and I went whitewater rafting as well.
So dope,
The
right?
past 2 summers.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have some good talks.
Yes. I want to go again.
This is
so-
always interesting coming back and then hearing the side conversations. I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but hey.
Oh, so you couldn't hear
what-
anything we were just talking about?
No.
Oh, cool.
Because like even if the music's paused, I'm just like in the
You're
zone of
in
like,
it.
what do I do next, right?
Dope.
And it's like you just get so sucked into that. It's like not even on my mind to like, oh, let me listen to what's
True.
going on, right?
Awesome.
You don't care?
Sorry?
You don't care?
What do you mean?
You don't care to listen?
Oh, I do care to listen, but that's why it's recorded, right? So we can watch it back.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Got you there, Danny. All right, so I want to dig into abusive relationships a bit and just like get your perspective on a few things.
Sure.
So in abusive relationships, I feel it's very natural to slip into a victim mindset, and what I mean by that is like it's very natural to feel like you're trapped in an abusive relationship. It's like it feels like it's hard to kind of step out of it. It's hard to escape a bit of like helplessness, I guess. So as someone who's experienced an abusive relationship, what was it that gave you the strength to be able to step out of that relationship?
Okay, so going back to what you
It's a very
said
good question.
about victim mindset, I wouldn't apply it to a sense of feeling trapped, because the feeling of being trapped is very real. It's extremely real. A lot of people don't know that most homicides that occur as a result of a violent relationship happen after the person leaves.
Right.
So there is a great deal of danger in leaving.
Yes.
The person who abused me said, if you ever call the cops on me, first of all, he's like, you can't get a restraining order. What is that going to do? They're not going to protect you 24/7. Facts. If you call the cops on me, I'll just send my boys to come after you if I get arrested. So, and then he threatened to hurt people I loved. You know, I saw him with weapons and whatnot. So like I felt like the fear was very real, and it was very real.
Oh
The
yeah, no,
danger
sorry,
was
I
real.
didn't mean victim mindset in that kind of sense. Like,
Got you,
of
got
course
you.
it's real. Like, I
Yeah.
just want to dig into like what it was that gave you the strength to like leave, because like knowing all of that, it's like how do you? It's like I can just imagine that it would be so hard to like I know all of this could happen, but you still managed to step out.
For sure. And like he really just he gave me that sense of my exits being cut off, because even when I would try to break up with him, he would call my phone nonstop. Like I couldn't even make an outgoing call because he was calling my phone so much. Send me texts, emails. He would show up at my house. If I didn't get in his car, he'd grab me and pull me into his car. So there was just like I didn't know what to do, but I didn't know I was being abused.
Okay.
It was psychological abuse. I never knew that abuse could be invisible. I had never heard of that before. So like all of his angry reactions and his controlling ways and all of that, I just blamed it on, I either overlooked it and ignored it, or I just said, he's stressed out right now. He's going through a rough time. As his girlfriend, it's my duty to support him through this. And I've heard so many other people say similar things. But one day he spat in my face and slapped me. And then I'm like, okay, now he put his hand on me in a violent way. This is abuse. Now I just see it.
Right, it's like the abuse you'd be able to recognize, right?
Exactly. And I had just, right before that incident happened, like maybe a few days before, he had threatened to hurt people I loved if I left him. And I'm like, this is my life now. I can't leave. He's going to hurt somebody if I try to.
Right.
I surrendered to the relationship.
Right.
And then I was snatched out of it when he put his hands on me. So it was interesting. And that was it. And the same thing happened. He was calling me nonstop and all of that until he ended up getting arrested for something completely unrelated.
Right.
And so with him in jail, I was able to start like getting my life back together and just getting that time to myself and that space.
Right.
And so it's part of the reason I do the work I do is because I thought I was going to die in that relationship. And I feel like I was put in that situation to experience it and survive it so that I could do something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, back to my question with like, how does someone go about getting that courage to leave? Because that's like so hard. Like
It is hard. I don't even know if it was courage on my end and if it was a lack of courage otherwise, because like I said, sometimes the danger is very real. So I wouldn't even call someone not courageous necessarily for not leaving. I think a really important thing, I really want to stress this to people who are watching, is a lot of people will have friends who are in abusive situations, and they'll be an ear for that person. And they'll be like, okay, this person's not treating you well. You got to stop going back to them. And then eventually some people get so tired of seeing their friends hurt and going through that, they'll be like, they'll kind of give them an ultimatum.
Right.
If you go back to him or her again, I can't talk to you anymore. When you do that...
And you're talking about like the friends of
the
those
friends
people,
say
right?
that. They threaten to cut them off. But when you cut off people in that situation, you're taking away a potential exit, a safe space, or a place for them to escape to.
Right.
So it's just...
So it actually ends up trapping them more.
Even more?
Yeah.
You got it. So I feel like... It's a loaded... It's a hard question to answer about courage. But I think it's a systematic thing, and it goes back to everything we were talking about, the empathy and connection. There's too much disconnection and separation in this world, a lot of competition, especially in like capitalist societies and whatnot. But I feel like we're not connected enough to each other, and we don't feel, the whole thing about do you feel more comfortable speaking to friends or strangers?
Right.
Some people don't want to tell people they know that they're being abused. They're afraid, how will it look? How will it affect our friend?
But when
all
you're
of
telling
that.
a stranger, it's like,
yes.
Who are they to judge me? Like, they're probably not going to judge me.
Exactly.
Even if they do, like, I might not even see them again.
You got it. And even just for one, let's say someone is out of that relationship, just telling their story, it kind of like, to me, it says a lot about society. The fact that it takes courage to talk about something that you didn't even do wrong. Someone did it to you, and yet you're afraid to talk about it.
Right.
That, like, what have we done as a society to cultivate that fear in people? So I think it's a root thing that we need to get to change how things are operating.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a dope conversation. I'm going to try and do my best to represent that at the creative station. It's a lot to take in. But here I go, guys.
What's going on?
Got into a very deep conversation.
It's powerful.
It's powerful, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll lighten it up a little bit. Someone crack a joke. No, it's okay. Cool. So as a creative, you wear like so many different hats, right? Like you're a photographer, like a poet, you hold events, like just so many things, and you reach people in such unique ways. I just wanna sort of dig into your thought process behind exploring so many different verticals. And like when I spoke to someone close to you, like, you know, like he mentioned like you're always sort of looking for constant growth, and like no matter what you do, like you go in, like you go all the way, and you don't half-ass nothing, right? So it's like what has made you sort of develop that breadth and depth at the same time, if that makes sense? Like where you're like going into photography, poetry, and everything, but you're going so deep in each of them. It's not like you're just sort of jack of all trades, master of none. Like
I'm probably like making the best out of like bad situations, because I wasn't diagnosed or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if I have ADHD. So I think that's why I need to like go back and forth from so many things. Art is my biggest stress relief. So I started directing last year. I just tried a couple of projects out.
Oh, cool.
That's a whole other... I want to say more, but I'm like,
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's actually wild. Because my first job as a director was for TIFF. So that's what I'm saying. So like, you're asking... I don't know.
Hold
I don't
up.
know.
Ted?
I know.
TIFF?
That's
What's going
what I'm
on?
saying. I don't know. know, frequency. I don't
It,
know.
it really is.
Or I
It
have
really
a
is.
mission. I'm on a mission
Your
and
aura.
I'm being supported.
Manifest, real.
Telling you, because I kept saying, because my friend Randall was like, I was like, you're a poet. I wasn't quite claiming the title yet, and he's just, I go, how do you write? Like, I always struggle to find the words.
You were saying that to him, or he was saying that? Okay,
to him.
okay.
And he's like, it's because I claimed the title poet. So I started saying, I am a director, and then I got it. I got hired by Tiff to do a project. So, but then that got so stressful. I'm like, I need a release, and I started doing calligraphy. So I'm teaching myself calligraphy while I'm directing it now, and I'm just learning 2 art forms at the same time, and they're relieving me of each other. Of like, so it's part of the ADHD, which has me working in so many different mediums, and it's also I wouldn't say I have it anymore, but the willingness, I guess, to go in all the way. I think that's just from my parents. Like my father's an entrepreneur. So I saw their work ethic is incredible, but also both of them, I would say, I had to work for their approval. So it's like putting in that work to like, because I know unless I'm getting the best marks in class, they're not going to be happy with what I'm achieving. So I think that's probably where that willingness.
It's very like Indian mentality,
Totally.
right? And like, I personally believe like there's a toxic aspect to it.
For sure.
But like, there's definitely also like.
Sure. What does that do to your child if like they always feel like they're never good enough for you,
Right.
or if your love is conditional on how they achieve? Like,
right. That's
no,
wild.
yeah.
But if you're able to balance it with like that unconditional love and say like, this is just a way for you to like push boundaries and like always do something like full-heartedly.
Yes.
Like that's an ideal balance. Would you say your parents like sort of instilled that in you?
The balance?
No, not the balance, but like just, I guess you said like they're the ones who like push you towards like going deep in something,
Yeah,
right?
probably. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Like when you were first going into photography, like what was the vision?
I guess it's just passion. I just wanted to do it. I don't know. That's really it.
Yeah.
I want to do it. I get joy out of doing
For sure.
it. And there was, as Avi was saying earlier, it's like when someone offers to pay you for something that you love to do, it's like, what? This is amazing. Yeah.
Cha-ching.
So that was very motivating as well in the early phases.
Yeah, and I just realized it's crazy because like beyond your own like, so you have like your different art forms that you sort of express yourself through, and then now you've almost created this all-encompassing brand that covers all of it. And then like you have stuff like this where it's like this is more like this is your like attitude, mentality, whatever that people are wearing, right? What was it like, sir?
That's how you see me. I appreciate that.
For sure,
like,
of
I
course.
can tell by the questions you're asking.
It's
like
amazing.
I appreciate it.
No, it's incredible that you're able to like join all of them together, and I'm just curious as to like when you like what was it like sort of like taking all of these different pieces, like poetry, photography, everything, and putting them under one to be able to express one message.
I don't know. I can't even pinpoint when that happened. It just kind of over time, almost like the way the world, has come together in the way that it has. It just things just shift and like things just fell into place.
You seem to like really believe in just the fluidity. Is that a word? Fluidity of the universe.
Yeah.
That just takes because a lot of people believe in like predetermined fate and whatnot.
Right.
But there's also the mentality of just like. Just go, like, just float down the river. Like,
Yes.
that, like, you floating down the river is, like, almost like a metaphor for your life.
Totally. I think Costa Rica has actually really changed my life for real because it just gave me that message over and over. I may not understand why the traumas that have happened to me, at least not when they're happening. But there's always a reason. And it's just, I only have a human understanding of things. There's a divine understanding that I may not understand, but I believe, yes. And I believe that I am in good hands and I'm always being led to the best possible place. So even if I lose something from my life that like I loved, which has happened a lot, I now look at it like what's not for me is simply being cleared away.
That's
so
good. Don't be afraid to like the lack.
Exactly.
Things, right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay. I'm going to go to the creative station, and then that was actually my last question, but we have a special bonus round, so stay tuned. Yeah, that was a quick round. It felt quick.
It did. I know.
Very quick round.
How's it beat? It's pretty good.
Nice.
It's interesting.
So excited.
Cool indeed.
So when you go over to the station, the creative station, you're working based on what you and I just talked about?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Pretty much like that, and like if I get any inspiration from what we talked about like in a previous round,
Yeah.
I'll also like try to put that in, and we'll explain it all to you after
Okay,
you
yeah.
hear the beat, so you get to.
Because
Like,
I'm also
hear the
wondering, like, is it
elements.
not difficult for you to like work? Like, how does he jump in so quickly?
So
and
we've
do-
just developed that chemistry.
Wow,
Yeah, we're
that's
just able to kind of like
amazing.
listen and just go from there.
So cool.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I wanted to have a conversation about was so Rohan had a chat with your friend Aquino,
Aquino.
right? Okay, so yesterday, and he just called me to like fill me in on what he said about you. And one of the things he said about you was that you have you're like a child in the sense that you're very honest, you're very curious, and also, what else did he say? I wrote it down here. Oh, and in terms of your honesty. Oh wait, I just said that. And your genuineness, right? So first of all, is that a thought you've ever had about yourself? Because I know you seem like a very self-aware person. So like, is that a thought that's ever hit you, like holding on to certain parts of being a child?
Nope, I think I'm just immature by nature. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting that you say that because so I have a certain view on this. It's like I feel like when someone says that someone's like a child, the initial thought is to hop to immaturity. But the way I see it is that there's childlike and there's childish.
I know, definitely.
Right?
Yes,
like I guess what I meant is like that
Of
childlike
course,
quality,
I
right? Like
know,
the childish
yes.
is definitely the immature side, but like
I agree. I do think I'm childlike. Yes.
yeah. So like, what role has that? Do you think that has played in your life? Like in terms of just like that curiosity to try so many different things and just like honesty. What have those roles have those played in your life?
I think something that's important.
I know it's like a
to me-
super deep like question,
I love it, but my thing is that when I was younger, when I was a oh wow, jeez Louise, when I was a child, I wanted to be all types of things. I wanted to be a vet. I wanted to just like it kept changing. But the one thing that like I knew over here that I wanted to be one day was a wise old woman, and I saw myself as a wise old woman who had worked a lot of jobs and did a lot of different things and was never fazed by anything she heard. So people could tell her anything. And that is exactly my life right now.
Oh, that's so dope.
And the fact that I'm childlike, like that just shows how much I've like.
You've held on to that.
I guess so.
Did
like,
you just have that realization
I guess
on?
so,
Oh
yeah.
my god! Yes. I was hoping for that. I was hoping like either you would say like yes, it's something I thought about, or it would like hit you because like I'm like this seems like something that would resonate with you.
Yeah,
right?
I've known about like the wise old woman thing, and I've been watching that, but I didn't tie it into the fact that I'm still childlike. So that's just really cool.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Self-awareness level up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I love that you brought up self-awareness because I also wanted to chat about self-awareness.
Talk about it.
So, have you always been a very self-aware person, or was there a certain stage in your life where you realized that you need to maybe work on yourself in terms of that quality and then develop that for yourself?
Yeah, I definitely was not always self-aware. Definitely, it's always a journey, so I'm still working on it. But that all happened with the spiritual awakening. That all literally, which I can pinpoint, my spiritual awakening was that moment where I stopped asking why me and started thinking about how many other people are feeling this way. So I went from I to we. And I think that's where my journey of self-awareness began.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for people who are looking to become more self-aware,
Yes.
but they don't necessarily know like how or like
Smoke
what is
weed. Just joking.
that? No, she's not.
It's legal now, right?
If you're not into the plant medicine, what you can also do is meditate.
Yes,
Meditation.
I love meditation.
Yes.
It's something I recently added back into my schedule.
Lovely.
Something that I did for a while, but as I was telling you earlier, like I went through this slump
Yes.
over the past month in my
Yes.
life, and then I was just kind of like going through like what habits have I dropped out of my life that I was
Right.
following earlier because
that's
I
right.
love self-awareness. And
Okay.
that's why like this chat
Got
is so
you.
dope to me.
Dope. What does meditation look like for you?
For me, it's literally like I just sit on a pillow like this, cross-legged, and I just close my eyes and I let my mind wander, but I like to always bring it back to some sort of focal point.
Nice.
Whether that's breathing is usually what it is, and usually I'll do it in silence, or sometimes with just like some sort of soundtrack on. You know those soundtracks on YouTube?
Yes,
that are like
I do.
Spiritual
They
awakening.
play all day in my home. That's
Yes.
all I listen to. Yes. Uh-huh.
I love that.
Yes.
So that's what meditation looks like to me.
Gorgeous.
What does it look like for you?
Very similar. It depends on what I'm feeling for. So sometimes
You're good. You're good.
It's dynamic, don't worry.
I'm not going to be mute in this interview, am I?
Oh shit, she figured it out.
Oh my gosh, all this talking for nothing. Yeah, it depends on what I'm feeling for. So my friend Morgan makes amazing binaural beats, and that goes on your head, and you got to sit like this and listen to that for an hour. So I love meditating for like long stretches of time. Sometimes I will just play Zen music on YouTube and just sit and not do anything. Just sit in whatever position I want to and just decompress.
Right.
But it's also like being mindful in everyday activities and interactions. That's meditation for me as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find like even like just going for a walk with no music on
Totally.
sometimes is like the biggest thing, because it's like you just get to, again, that's it's not like, I feel like self-awareness branches from just awareness in general.
Yes.
And that comes from being aware of your environment, being aware of people's reactions, like just being aware of all these things, but not letting them affect you personally,
Yes.
right? And
Yes,
I feel like that's where like self-awareness branches from. It's just
Yeah.
that general awareness.
It's a practice,
everything.
constant practice,
yeah,
actually.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, dope. And the time is up. Okay. All right, and I think that's my last question.
Okay.
You're gonna go finish up the beat. Yes, I'm gonna go finish up the beat.
Okay. Nice. Can't wait to hear it.
Surprise, surprise, I'm back. Cool. So as promised, we have a special bonus round right now. As promised. So I mean, this show is all about intersectionality. So first of all, thank you so much for just sharing your story, and it's just awesome to interpret it via different medium and like draw patterns and everything. And really, for this bonus round, we want to truly live intersectionality by flipping it back to you and having you interpret some of our art.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to play a snippet of one of our songs.
Okay.
The song is called Then and Now. It's on our Spotify and Apple Music, wherever you stream music. And then I'll give you a little bit of context about what the song is about after playing it.
Okay.
And then we'll have a conversation about it. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Cheyenne? I think, this is awkward. Are we experiencing technical difficulties? We can hear the music just fine. I guess it's not playing on the stream, or
Is it playing on the stream?
it's not playing on the stream, huh?
The end just started playing now.
Oh, cool. Okay. Do you want to run it back real quick?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I'm having trouble hearing the lyrics, though. So
Yeah, I'll give you some.
Oh,
context
perfect.
After. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
We'll run it back, TJ Cheyenne. Cool. So basically, what I'm saying there in that latter part is, I'll just say here. So, I don't want to roll. My inner man's gone. I've been so alone. Vulnerabilities, but my culture been killing me. Please don't fuck with the energy of the soul. Whoa. And then I repeat that. And essentially, I wrote. This is probably my most personal song so far. And it was sort of written in the aftermath of a lot of self-reflection, where I realized that as a a guy, especially a guy coming from a sort of like South Asian community, there's not a lot of room for us to show vulnerability, and it's almost like, and again, I didn't realize this growing up, but it's like we're almost always supposed to be right, like the head of the household and that kind of stuff. And so when I had sort of gone through a breakup, it was a lot of self-hate. And I was sort of like, even when I would break down and sort of express emotion to myself, just in the mirror, I'd be like, why are you like this? Like, what are you doing, kind of thing. And
bullying
now
yourself almost.
I didn't really think about it that way, but yeah, totally, where it's like, this is wrong, like you shouldn't be feeling this way. And it's crazy because I grew up listening to really vulnerable artists and everything, but when you go through it, it's sort of like, oh, it doesn't feel right. I feel completely differently now, but the song is just exploring the concept of male vulnerability, especially when you're sort of raised by a community that shuns that specific concept. So as a woman, what do you think that men, particularly in our communities, can do better and to sort of make room for male vulnerability? And how can the women support as well?
Good question. Thank you for asking. Thank you for caring enough to ask that question.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that really shocked me was I connected with this beautiful person. His name's Renee, actually. I love Renee. Okay. So, shout out to Renee.
Serendipity. Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was him who said this to me, but I know him because he was best friends with my boyfriend at the time. And as we were having conversations, he let me know over time, he's like, I feel very close to you. Like, I feel very connected. I feel like you're one of my closest friends. I feel like I know you better than my own friends. I feel closer to you. And I could not understand why. Because I'm like, you guys are together like every day. And this has been going on since you were in high school. How is this possible? Because, yes, they're spending time together every day, but they're not talking. They're playing video games. They're playing basketball, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I see. So I think just having conversations, sitting down with your boys, as much as you might make time for the other activities you do, sitting down to have those conversations, I think that is huge. And possibly inviting women to partake or, be present and offer a woman's perspective. Like, men may operate a certain way because they feel like this is right. This is what it is. This is how things have always been done. And then the woman might be like, yeah, it's how things have always been done. But when that happens, this is how I feel. You know what I mean? So
when you do X, I feel like Y.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Just having
that's crazy. When you do try to have those conversations, and not asking for advice, but like,
please.
It's like, it's climbing up. It's having an uphill battle, right? Of like, especially if your friends are very closed off and they have like a very flinch reaction to it, like, why are you being such a bitch? Like that kind of reaction to it. How do you, because that almost like it retracts you back in your shell. You're like, all right, I guess I'm not going to bring it up. Like, how do you, I guess I am asking for advice. Like just overcoming that, how can we further the conversation without?
That's great that you're asking. It's a real question because that's so true. It's not like you're deciding, I want to start having these conversations. I want to grow as a person. My friends are going to grow right along with me.
Psych.
right? So what I would say is this. When I started my humanitarian journey, I was very, very, very fortunate to come across a quote in a very timely manner, which is, I don't know how to say her name out loud, Anais Nin. The quote was, you cannot save people, you can only love them. So maybe your friends aren't ready, but there are people out there in the world who are. So maybe that's where you connect and you have those conversations and then you can bring it back to your circle. You can come back to your circle as a more evolved person. And through leading and living by example, as we've discussed, that freedom and that courage frees and empowers other people.
And at the end of the day, only so much is in your control. And
Absolutely.
I guess there's no real point in going crazy over putting all the burden on you to push a certain boundary.
And drain yourself. Did you see me pushing veganism on you today?
No.
So what I don't no.
Danny's like, yes.
Didn't Danny?
I asked her if she wanted milk like 10 minutes ago. I mean, at the beginning of the show, I was like, crap. We just came back from a vegan restaurant. What are you doing? Sorry.
And that's but like that's the thing. Like I don't push it on people, but when people are like, you're how old? But you look this old? Or how do you stay in shape so quickly? Or whatever it might be. That's when I'm like, veganism. Like, I slip it in at the right
but
time.
you're not like pushing it on
Yeah,
them, and you can treat everything else the same way, too.
Absolutely. So let's say this friend who a hypothetical friend who responds in such a toxic way to you wanting to discuss emotions, and you decide, I'm going to go over here and have those conversations where I'm able to. But I'll let them know I'm having these conversations. Yo, guys, I talked about getting my heart broken the first time and what that felt like. Yo, guys, today I was talking to guys about my feelings and I started crying. Right. They might be like, what's wrong with you? But over time, as they see you growing as an individual, they might be like, I think I want to have a conversation.
It's like fam, I love you and I'll be here for you, but until you're ready to have this conversation, I'm going to be here. Feel free to join whenever.
Absolutely. And it's not even about necessarily cutting people off.
Yeah.
But it's just about knowing, okay, I can't have that conversation with this person. This is what we can do as friends. They want to play video games. I love spending time with them. That's what we do when we're together. But that's not all I'm about. I'm also about this.
That's awesome. That's so zen when you're able to just come to peace with that and realize what's out of your control, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, thank you. That was awesome. Cool. Thank you so much for, offering up your perspective on that. I think it's such an important topic. I know you've covered toxic masculinity as well in a lot of your pieces, so I appreciate that. Do you have like the toxic masculinity piece specifically up online or anything for people to check out?
Yes.
What can they look up on
So
YouTube?
my website has my photography, my poetry, my interviews, ZIGGA
Okay, perfect. Cool. All right, well, we are at time, but I wanna just give some time to you to just maybe promote like whatever you're up to, and like I know you just said like where you can find your work, but what are you up to?
So the next thing that's happening is I'm about to leave Toronto indefinitely and head to Asia for a nomadic lifestyle. And while I'm there, I'm going to be focused on writing my memoirs and talking about everything that's happened to me in my past to release it. I'm ready to release it.
Awesome.
And then because there's so much spirituality out there and healing methods and all that, once I release it all, I'm going to fill myself up with all that healing and then focus on creating a catalog of spoken word poetry.
That is awesome.
And just like through Costa Rica, if all goes according to plan, or if I choose this path, I will be documenting everything online on my Instagram.
Amazing.
At ZIGGA Studio.
So follow her at ZIGGA Studio on Instagram. Okay.
Or I might go live in a cave and disappear forever. Who knows? I really don't know what's going to happen.
Float down the river.
Exactly.
The river takes you.
I love it. That's going to be my new thing.
That really
Float down the
I
river.
It's
perfect.
That's awesome.
And then I'm selling these as well. So I got two. I got Move From My Aura Fam, and I got Fuck Up Some Chakras.
Fuck Up Some Chakras.
And
fuck Up Some Chakras.
These, I don't know how I'm going to work while I'm traveling. So these are supporting that journey. So thank you because y'all bought a shirt. And that meant a lot to me,
these shirts are so dope, man. I'm going to be rocking this. Yo, go to her website, ZIGGAZAGGAstudio.com. Cop you a shirt because, man, the vibes are crazy. Thank you. So Reesee, you've impacted a lot of people. We've reached out to a lot of people, and so many people have had so many kind things to say about you. Like, you are a community. It takes so much for you to be able to take everyone's pain and express your own pain and like just touch so many people. So we wanted to do something special for you. So we reached out. We got about, I think, 30 to 40 people just to send you some goodbye messages. Some people have even sent in poems. So can we? This is something you can take with you to Costa Rica to always, hopefully it just reminds you of home. We have. Okay, she did. Yo, I'm gonna call you out. Yo. We're at brunch and we're like talking about how Danny ordered the t-shirt. It was supposed to be a surprise for me to wear this, and she was like, "Y'all are really bad at surprises." Bow, checkmate. Checkmate.
What?
So
who are you, angels? I don't understand. No. Reesee, come and talk about yourself. Reesee, let us buy you vegan food. Reesee, we're gonna buy a shirt. How?
But for real, no. But like, it was crazy, and like, Danny did most of the work. Thank you, Danny. But like, it was crazy reaching out to people and seeing them come back with like paragraphs. Like,
oh my God, I feel like I'm dreaming
This started a week ago, and like 40 people responded. It's crazy. Like,
how did you?
You really have impacted people, and that's like.
I don't even know what to say. I feel like I'm dreaming. I don't think this is real.
Yo, 6:49. What? This is Cloud 9.
This is for the folks at home. This is how you fuck up some chakras.
Woo! Fucked all the way up.
But no, thank you to everyone. We have a quick list of everyone that contributed up on the stream right now. You can
How did
check
you
it
know
out
who to
later.
contact?
You know, Danny is just a master at reaching out. to
Danny.
people.
I'm a master.
Yo, and here's the thing. You be posting Instagram stories every day of everyone that responds to your DMs. So you're putting it out as well of who you impact, right? So it's very apparent, like, the impact you've made. So
And everyone kept it a secret. All
everyone
these
kept it
40
a secret.
people.
You already know.
What
You already
is
know.
Thank you so. I'm.
Of course.
And look at these smiles. What's happening? Where am I? Oh.
Well, you're at the Keralanka Show. We stream every Saturday, 1:30 p.m. Tune in live.
Holy.
Can I get an air horn, Cheyenne?
Oh my gosh.
I feel like we've been locking on the air horns.
Yeah, those are angels with the air horns right now. It's beautiful.
Okay, cool. All right, so we gonna just like do a quick. Can we just like set up for the Beat Studio? But we're gonna go to the Beat Studio next, and then we'll have you perform your
You
poem.
guys are amazing. Wow.
And we're good. No,
Oh my god.
we're good.
For you, and then.
I think it's my birthday today. So are we still live?
Yeah, we're live.
May I take my hoodie off?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. And then you'll perform like the poem here too.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. Awesome.
Please don't leave me. I'll join you in a second.
Yeah, sounds good. No, we'll wait. We good.
We Gucci.
Yo, Shine, just post on the stream.
You have this. Like you have it set up to the
Oh
speaker,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, that's fine.
Just waiting for Reese. There's Reese. Can we frame you right here? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play you the beat, your sonic essay. Then AP and I are gonna break it down real quick with just our reasoning behind why we did what we did, and then can't wait. Like you're gonna perform an amazing piece. Okay. Cool. Let's do it. Let it roll, AP.
There was happiness. There was love.
You can rest,
There was happiness. There was love.
I've heard this part later.
Triumphant. Ooh. Oh my goodness.
I love that you use triumphant. That's the feeling I wanted.
Keralanka, put some spice on it.
Keralanka puts a
That
spice
was
on it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that is, our interpretation of your story. AP, do you want to go first and just quickly explain like why we did what we did?
Yeah,
Cool.
Sure. So the first thing I did was I just put in this like rising feeling. As soon as we started talking, I just had that vibe. It was just very like uplifting, right? So I just wanted to put that in. I started with that. Then I put in this piano, and this is like it's very lo-fi. It reminds me of what I personally listen to when I feel very introspective. So I want to catch that like introspection vibe. Am I close enough to the mic? Okay, now I am. And I just wanted to catch that introspection vibe. And then after that, what did I do? Oh, and then what I did here was Rohan put in this chop of...
There was happiness. There was love.
So I wanted to switch from close to the ending, I wanted to switch from an introspective vibe to a bit more triumphant, a bit more like I've reflected and now I feel there's happiness inside me. I feel good about myself. So what I did was I switched up the piano and I put it in. And then right at the ending, what I did was I layered that with the sound I used earlier, this sound. I wanted to add that to make it even more triumphant, so I put those.
Makes me feel some type
It
of
feels
way.
like the outro to like a movie, and then what I did to just add that extra spice on top is the trumpets.
And I love chorus.
Yeah, oh, dope. Because I want to capture like a triumphant feeling of like I've now helped myself, but I feel good because I'm helping other people too.
You guys are dope.
And now Rohan will explain what he did to the beat.
All right, dope. So I think AP mainly handled like the instrumentation this time around. I added like some strings here and there, but really what I wanted to focus on was just your words and transforming that into soundscapes. So I think AP already mentioned, like you mentioned like happiness, right? A lot around just, what was your quote? There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Yes. So adding.
There was happiness. There was love.
And then AP repeated it too, just as a core theme, just to represent that happiness. Something that really hit home was the floating river, because I mentioned it a million times already. But before you said that, you said like you landed in Costa Rica and some energy was telling you, oh, I don't know where it is. I'm sorry, just trying to find it. Where is it? Where is it at? Where is it at?
You can rest,
So that just wanted to follow that with a very little interpretation of you floating down the river. Right. And it's like the fact that we have the same loop comes back in with the floating river, because you're still the same person. You're still the same person, but it's like you're now in this state of like, I don't even know what the word is, but you know what I mean, right? It's like you're operating on a higher frequency, which is dope, and you're caring about yourself. And then you also mentioned, sorry, I'm just going, yeah, the floating river. You mentioned you always like to switch things up, and like that's why you're into photography, etc. So here, just sort of representing like that photography bit, and I added like a snap in after to represent, spoken word a little bit. And then finally, you kept mentioning Costa Rica, so I found this the soundscape of a restaurant in Costa Rica with just people and yeah, this is literally from Costa Rica. It doesn't have a deeper meaning to it, but just because that specific place means so much to you, just wanted to represent that. And then AP topped it off with those beautiful triumphant horns, and that is, our interpretation of your story. Yeah. That's awesome. Do a hug? You're going? Yes. All right.
I wasn't done yet.
Sorry, no. She's not done yet. Long hugger. Sorry. So before we let you take the floor and perform a beautiful piece, first of all, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and like being here. We want to ask you, out of everyone that you know and people that you don't know, who do you think like two dope guests on the two dope potential guests for the Keralanka Show?
Actually, before you asked that, I was thinking everyone should get an opportunity to be on this show just because of the way you've made me feel today. Like I've just never had anyone invite me to be part of something and I've never felt this taken care of on like at being a guest on someone's show. That's and awesome. Everyone else did a great job too, but y'all just really like, I can't believe how much you've given. I'm so grateful.
Well, at the end of the day, I think it just speaks to like the incredible impact that you've had on people. I know I've said that a million times, but it's so true. Otherwise, like, people wouldn't keep, you know, doing it every day. People are rocking your shirts. People are booking you for photography sessions, like your goodbye party. Wish I knew you before your goodbye party so I could have reached. But that's cool. The next one.
But I feel the way you've treated me today, I feel like I've known, like, I feel like you're my brother. So
And, oh, man. And you know what? That's what it is. It's depth over just shallow conversations, and yeah,
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
that.
I have
So-
to think about it.
Yeah?
I
Anything that anyone that comes off the top of the head immediately?
Oh,
Any friends or anyone?
Before I answer, I'd have to, and I don't mind if you want to answer now, but I'd have to know what kind of guest you're looking for. So, like, you know, what kind of personalities do you want to speak? Is it mostly people who are entrepreneurs doing their own thing? Like, and then I could probably come up with some names.
I think at the end of the day, like, it comes down to intersectionality and people that are able to empathize with others and have a true, like, a higher calling towards why they do what they do, whether that's running a business or, like, you know, like, sharing their art. That's really, I think, the core of everything.
One person for sure is my friend Jasmine Lee.
Okay, Jasmine Lee.
She's a woman, and she has done, I think, over $100 million in real estate.
That's crazy.
Killing it.
My mom's a real estate agent.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
she's
Wow.
amazing. Like,
That's dope.
Go to her home. Her home is amazing in itself,
Okay.
but like awards on awards on awards on awards. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. And
that's
she's
amazing.
And that was cool. She hired me as a photographer, and very loving, but I was very guarded until I saw how she treats the people in her life. She's just love.
She enables. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing person.
And
so I think she'd be a great guest.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you do too, and we thank you for that. Thank you. So this has been the Keralanka Show, episode 3. Thank you for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, etc. under Keralanka. Check out Reesee as well, ziggazagastudio.com/links. You can fuck up some chakras, or you can tell someone to move from your aura, fam. Fem? If you're a real Toronto man, get that real quick. And yeah, thank you so much. We're gonna give you the floor to express yourself.
Yes.
Thank you. One more hug and then.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. So y'all have to tell me if I'm in the right position.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're
Okay.
right.
Am I tall enough for this mic right now? Like if I stand.
Stand just off to the left. Yeah.
You want me to stand on the side?
No, wait.
Thank you.
Okay. There we go.
That's great, actually. Okay, I think that's it. I don't have any questions. I probably close my eyes, but I will say that something did happen to me recently, and as I was rehearsing this poem, I found I was struggling with the words a little bit because they're hitting home right now. So just if during this performance I have to pause or repeat, it's just because the words are hitting me. So that's all. But I'm willing to definitely let you see that this is authentic and this is real life. So here we go. You deserve to know that you deserve more than what you have been given, and that you deserve to live in peace. You deserve to be loved while you grieve. You deserve to be listened to uninterrupted. You deserve to feel heard and believed. You deserve to be surrounded by people who care for you, who nurture you and treat you like plants, who tend to your garden when you can't. You deserve to heal without being rushed, to not have to explain why you don't want to be touched. There, you deserve to be attended to with the finest of care. You deserve to have your progress acknowledged, be offered the utmost sincerest apology. Enclosure. You deserve to see bystanders rush over to defend you and personally take offense to actions meant to end you. You deserve to chill. You deserve to be still, to not have to flee from the home you have built, to not have to look over your shoulder constantly. You deserve to know that you deserve privacy and freedom, to be able to go where you want to and do what you want to with whomever you want to, whenever you want to, while dressed however the fuck you want to. You deserve parents who want you, who encourage you, love you, feed you, assist you, who speak to you with words that strengthen and uplift you, who provide a loving home for you to find solace in, who accept you for who you are, what you are, all of it. You deserve to have willingly chosen to have departed from your innocence, to be held gently and experience blissfulness. You deserve flowers every day. You deserve a good sleep every night. You deserve a great sleep every night. You deserve great great nights. You deserve a great date at a great place with a presence that lovingly holds space and cherishes every moment of the wait while your petals open at their own pace. You deserve the time and space that it takes to decide if the time is right and the space is safe for you to disarm yourself. You deserve orgasms. You deserve to be kissed on all of your scars. Fingertips that bless you as they caress you and dress you and address you like the royalty you are. A touch that is grateful for every bead of sweat. Ears that give thanks for every panting breath. A mouth that longs to make you forget how to form coherent sentences and has you dripping. Wow, sorry, got carried away. You deserve to be carried away on a private plane to a private island where a private chef awaits to pridefully provide a wide selection of nourishing food on your plate. You deserve to have birds starting your mornings with songs. You deserve a tribe that loves you and lets you know you belong. You deserve to know that your existence, whatever it may feel like, is important to this world. That you can affect the tides just like the moon. That just like the moon you glow in the dark. That just like the moon you go through phases and cycles, and that's okay. You deserve to be reminded that it's okay. You deserve to be reminded that it's okay not to be okay. You deserve to take a break. You deserve to know that your ancestors love you and believe in you, and that your God is within you, seeing you, leading you, freeing you, and needing you to keep being you. You deserve to run freely on sunflower fields under blue skies, on green grass while winds blow and you laugh. You deserve to encounter 10,000 kind strangers who remind you that pure love still exists in the world. You deserve the world. You deserve to be spoken to gently. You deserve to be happy and healthy, joyous and hopeful, inspired, driven. You deserve to be given the chance to follow your dreams. You deserve a choir singing you nightly to sleep. You deserve to experience being debt-free. You deserve a salary worthy of your energy. You deserve to have access to your hard-earned money and to live in a beautiful home. You deserve to be reminded that you are never alone, that we all feel worthless at times, that we all feel afraid at times, that we all feel like we're regressing at times, that we too have had moments of wanting to die, that we all have had moments of abusing ourselves, that we all have had moments of forgetting our wealth, that we all make mistakes, that we all tend to doubt that we have what it takes, that Oprah and Maya Angelou felt this way too, and if they can make it, that means so can you, that we all have carried shame that never was ours, that we've all had mornings where we've cried in the shower, that we all have had trouble letting go of the past. You deserve to be reminded that this too shall pass. Yes! You deserve to have volumes written of your resilience, the way you love, though they tried to destroy your brilliance. The strength it takes to get out of bed and do what needs to be done. The courage it takes not to run. The courage it does take to run. The way you nurture without receiving a kind touch. The way you smile even though you've been through so much. You deserve to feel angry, resentful, vengeful, more vindictive than 10 billion Scorpios. You deserve time off of work and patience while you learn, and guidance as you walk this path. You deserve a map to help you find where the treasure's buried at. You deserve to feel safe wherever you go, and you most definitely deserve to know that though life may not have given you all you deserve, it in no way affects your inherent worth. You were a miracle since before the time of your birth, and you get to decide why you're here on this earth. No one can remove the lessons you've learned, your ability to heal and impact the world. You may have lived in silence, you may have lived unseen, but while you're becoming all you're meant to be, know that this tribe is cheering you on relentlessly as you discover your purpose and fulfill your destiny. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
That was so good.
That was goosebumps the whole time. Oh my god.
Stream's going.
Appreciate
That was amazing.
Done?
Ready.
That was beautiful.
It just ended like that?
Or we can.
That's dope. I mean, if that's what it is, that's cool.
This has been episode 3 of the Keralanka Show.
Was
Reesee got bars. That's all I'm going to say, so y'all better check her out.
Don't let life on the floor, man.
Damn. Anything else you want to say? That was amazing.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
And we'll see y'all next Saturday. Cheers.